Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. As you can see, our host, regular host, Winston Chester, is not here today, so I'll be here with you. The river readings are brought to us by Coca-Cola Bottling Company. Apalachicola River, Bluntstown is 3.56 feet. It's pretty low, but as I'll tell you in a minute, it'll probably come up some. The Chautauqua River at Kerrville is also low, 2.59 feet. And I was looking back when I filled in and helped Winston back a few months ago, back in July, and actually the river was about the same level at that time. Tides are brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home. A couple of goofy tides today. High tide is going to be was at 1:03 a.m. Then a low tide at 3:50 a.m. Then we've got a high tide at 7 o'clock. Then a low tide at 9 this morning. Right after this, you see this. So the tides, there's not much tide difference. And if you talk to any fishermen, they'll tell you that's not a good time to fish. You want a drastic tide, particularly if you're fishing near shore along the coast. Weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. The high today is 76 degrees. That'll be about noon. Low will be it's about 69. 76 at noon. Low will be about 69 around 1 to 2. So not much difference. We do have a cool front moving in. 20 to 30% chance of rain this morning. You know, we had some rain last night. We're going to have more rain today. They're predicting actually 2 to 4 inches of rain with a possibility of more rain before this front moves in. We've got some really cold weather. It's not going to hang around, but we've got some cold weather coming through. Winds are going to be out of the southwest today, about 12, 13 miles an hour. Not a good day to go out, because if you do, somebody, Coast Guard or FWC, is going to get a call to go look for you. So don't go out. Water temperature is a brisk 67 degrees. I tried to go wading a few days ago, and trust me, it's too cold for that. So it's actually about 3 degrees cooler right now than normal years. So it is cool. We're going to take our first break right now and be back with you in just a second. Well, welcome back to Panhandle Outdoors. As you can see, my grizzled veteran co-worker here, we worked together, Ken Paramore. Ken,
Good
welcome.
Morning. Good morning.
Good.
You say we weren't here since July?
I think we were here in August, but I had a note where I was looking back in July.
I thought Winston had fired both of us.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
Speaking of Winston, you know, I heard a rumor he slipped out on us.
Yeah, I know.
Over the weekend, and kind of had a successful deer hunt. That's the rumor going around. There's a picture floating around on social media. That, him posing with a pretty nice looking 8-point. So
wow.
I'm assuming he had success, unless he just posed with somebody else's deer.
Yeah, I'm glad you told me. I have to give him a hard time about that. I'm glad he got him a deer. I know. I think it was last year, he actually went somewhere in Georgia. He was invited to go, and he hunted for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. I don't think he saw a deer. And our daughter actually went by his beach house at Cape San Blas, and there was a big white 8-point standing in the yard at his beach house. And I think she made a photo, and Winston said, "That's just great. I drive 300 miles to deer hunt, and there's a deer in my yard." So anyway.
He should have stayed home.
Yeah, he should have, but anyway. By the way, before we get into the show today, there's a longtime viewer that recently passed away, and I wanted to mention about him. His name was Charles Nichols. And Charles loved getting up in the morning. If he didn't watch the show, Charles was in his 90s. He would watch the show when you guys or go to YouTube and watch it. But Charles loved the show. He's a great guy. Miss Juanita, his wife, still lives here. I think she's lives locally. But anyway, service was Alex Gentili did this service, did a fabulous job. But anyway, Mr. Charles is in his 90s and a great guy, and we miss you. His son actually came by the other day and brought me a mess of mullet. His son Gary caught some mullet off his dock, and he knew I liked mullet, so he brought me a mess of mullet. So.
Well, you're going to give a shout out real quick.
Yeah,
go right ahead. Good morning to Skip Harmon. Skip, I hope you're doing well and better. And I also like to say good morning to Rodney Swindle and Laura Parker. Good morning.
Has Skip been under the weather?
Skip's doing good.
Okay, good. I have not talked to Skip in quite a while, so I'm glad to hear that. And by the way, before we get started, I had, you were asking, was I in a fight? No, I was not in a fight, but I actually had a little skin cancer surgery, and I won't go into and bash people about not wearing sunscreen, but do wear your sunscreen, do wear your cloth, because I had a little skin cancer surgery, and the upshot of that was it's caused my right eye to be really bloodshot. So I'm glad to get that taken care of.
I thought somebody knocked you in the head.
Yeah, that could have. But anyway. Fish and wildlife wise, what's going on with you?
Fishing, with all the best intentions, you know, the governor extended our red snappers through the month of December, and with all these intentions to go, between trying to get ready for hunting and trying to do a little hunting, so far the boat has not left the yard.
Oh, Lord. All right, okay.
But due to the pictures that I've seen on social media, the ones who are going and have braved the cold and some of the seas, they have been being very successful.
A friend of mine talked to me day before yesterday. He had just caught a couple of nice snapper legally, and in fact he called and shared with me a wonderful piece of snapper. But he was telling me there are tons of red grouper right now that are in there. They're not legal. Well, I guess there's not a grouper season right now anyway. But they're short. But there's tons of red grouper in right now. So be prepared to see them. So with that, Ken, I tell you what. Let's go ahead and take our next break right now, and then we'll be back with you in just a minute. Well, welcome back to the show. Ken, you were talking about some things now that are going on in the state, and tell us about them.
Before I do that, I want to plug our 2025 calendars are in. I've got my hands on them.
National Wild Turkey Federation
National
calendars.
Wild Turkey Federation state chapter.
The state chapter.
This is our third year that we've been selling these as a statewide fundraiser. Right. The money stays in the state of Florida. We don't give it to headquarters in Edgefield. It's based on a gun a week. There's a gun every Wednesday night. There's the Florida Lotto Pick 3 evening drawing, whatever the numbers are. If the corresponding number on your calendar matches the Florida lottery number, then you're the winner of the gun for that week. So for $50 for an entire year, you're paying less than $1 a week to have a chance at winning a gun.
Okay.
So we've got these. I've got these in hand. So get in touch with me, or you can buy them online. I think they charge an extra $5 online.
Can they get in touch with you through the Turkey chapter website?
Anyway, I can leave my number.
All right. Well, Bay County Longbeards, if you go to the website, you can get in touch with Ken through that. So.
A lot of the viewers have gotten with me in the past, so they know how to find me. Winston's got my number, and if we need to, we can put it on the thing. What's going on statewide? I was trying to do some prep last night for this show, and I ran into I went to the FWC webpage, and I don't know if you've ever tried to navigate their webpage, but there's at times it leaves a lot to be desired. But once you start digging and getting in the right area, I found an area where there's new news, new rule changes. And I'm going to go through a couple of these real quick that I don't think I knew, but maybe I did. Did you know now you can hunt squirrels year-round on private land?
I don't want to take away your thunder, but I found that last night when I was looking, and I went, when did this start? I didn't know you could squirrel hunt year-round. Used to, we had days.
On private land.
Yeah, yeah.
It was approved at February commission meeting this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know who wants to hunt squirrels in the summertime, but if you own a piece of property, you can hunt squirrels year-round now. One rule.
When I lived in Alabama, people hunted them up there in September. They could hunt them, and I was like, nah, I don't want to go out there.
Evidence of sex on deer and turkey has changed. The head and the sex ID does no longer have to be attached to the carcass on deer and or turkey. On deer, all you have to have is the skull plate next to it, and on turkeys, you just have to have the beard if it's required.
So if you kill a deer in a CWD state, let's say, and you process the meat, okay, you get rid of the skull or the backbone, all of that, you put it in an ice chest. What do you have to comply with this law to bring it back? Or you kill it in Holmes County in that area. What?
Bringing it back's a whole different animal.
Okay, that's a different critter.
But like if you're caught in the field with evidence, with pieces, you
got them in an ice chest.
You used to have to have it
sex ID
attached.
Right.
Now it just has to be next to it.
Okay. All right.
That's
not a great big thing.
There's also now was approved, I don't know when it goes in effect, a deer dog hunting permit on wildlife management areas. So if you're part of the dog hunters groups, I'm assuming now you're hunting management area, which Econfina and Apalachicola is some of ours close by.
Right.
They have to get us a no-cost permit, and apparently, according to what I read, it was encouraged by the dog hunters associations to have a better count of who and how many are hunting deer on management areas with dogs.
Wow.
So
now, was the rule, I didn't mean to interrupt you, go ahead.
Go ahead.
There is also, it's not a brand new rule, I think it's 1 year old, that has to do with, it's controversial, but it has to do with bears. And basically, it was passed.
Yeah, that's a Florida statute.
That's a statute. That's not a rule passed by the commission. What he's talking about are rules passed by the commission. But there is a new statute that was controversial that has to do with bears that people perceive as a threat to them can be eliminated. So I know that FWC had some real angst with that rule, and rightly so, because it's my opinion, need a little more thought. But anyway, I'll stick with it.
I'm not touching bears today.
All right.
No bears. No bears.
Anyway,
no bears.
All right. A lot of people are seeing bears locally, by the way. A lot of bears on properties around here. People sending me. I've seen pictures. In fact, a property that I hunt occasionally over in Wakulla County. A friend of mine sent me a picture of a sow and 3 cubs, and the cubs probably are 30, 40 pounds apiece, and no deer on the property, but I mean in that picture, but lots of bears running around. So everybody's got bears. Yes, everybody's got
Pretty
bears.
Much everybody.
Yes.
The Jackson County folks are a little bit immune from bears, but everybody else is pretty.
Actually, I bought some honey last year from a guy in Grand Ridge, and for the first time, he's got bears showing up at Ocheesee Landing. He's never seen bears before, but they're showing up next to his lease, and they couldn't figure out how to get in the electric fence. and they were walking around his electric fence, which is a good thing until that battery no longer works or somebody takes it or something. But
he gets a free meal.
Then that will cause a lot of havoc, yes, for the person. So yeah, but there and a lot of bears in this area. That was one of the, when you and I were working, that was one of the biggest things that we heard about complaints was people dealing with bears.
It hasn't changed. I'm sure they hear about it every day.
I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt of that. So anyway, but
I want to talk a little bit about antlerless deer.
I tell you what,
it's going to take a minute.
Yes, I tell you what, we're about to take our next and last break, and when we come back, we will go to that.
Quick, we'll cover that.
No, you got enough time, but we'll go to that then. So you guys are with us. Please come back in just a minute, and we'll be right back. Well, welcome back. We're back in the final segment. Ken, we were talking, and you wanted to talk about something has to do with deer. So let's get into that.
There hasn't been a change. The change has been in effect since right before or just after I retired. So, but it has to do with antlerless deer and the tagging. And I hear it all the time. I heard it not too long ago, that the perception is that if you hunt a piece of property that is under the antlerless deer program, and they issue you tags.
FWC issues you antlerless tags.
Right. We have 2 doe weekends up here in D1. One was Thanksgiving, Saturday, Sunday. One's coming up, Christmas, Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. The perception was that you could hunt doe deer on those days
and not use
your tags because it was doe days. The law reads, and the information on the FWC reads, that even if you're under the program is doe day or not, you have to use your tags for those deer, even though it's doe weekend. So some people think that they use their tags for other times of the year, and they don't have to use them during doe weekends.
Wow.
But they do. And the way it was explained to me back right after I retired was, under the antlerless programs, X amount of deer are allotted under the tag system.
Sure, yeah.
One for 150 acres or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's all that's allotted for that property, period. That would mean that if you let them not use or tag does during those weekends,
you're taking more than
you should. But the general consensus, when you talk to a lot of people, is that they can harvest doe deer on those weekends and not use their tags.
Yeah.
You have to tag, even if you're under the program. I'm under the same boat. If we kill a doe Saturday or Sunday of the doe weekends, we use our tags that's under the property that they're issued.
Oh, babe. Okay.
So just to clear that up, don't want anybody getting in trouble.
Yeah. All right. In fact, there's a place or two that I hunt, and they have antlerless tags, and I haven't used one yet. Along those lines, this goes back, and biologists tell you this: don't sit on those tags. If you have, or if you're issued antlerless tags, the longer you wait in the season to use them, the harder it is to fill those tags. You better go ahead and use them sooner rather than later, because deer learn. People coming in the woods, they can smell you coming in the woods. They're just not as frequent. They're not as abundant, and they're not. I should say they're not as visible. So use those tags early on. I know that used to be the rule, and I'm sure it still is. So
one more point about the tags.
Yeah,
the only thing now that the tags, that the properties that get the tags or benefit is allows their people to take them throughout the season, rather than have people take them just on doe weekends.
Okay.
You still have to use that tag.
Well, not to put you on the spot, but do they still need to call?
Still have to report them.
Report them to through that FWC.
And they don't go against your bag limit.
Right. Okay.
You can go outside of an area that doesn't have, not under the program,
correct.
management area or private,
Okay.
and you can still harvest your 2 does
Outside of that.
outside.
Okay.
You have to report, but they don't go against your bag limit.
And FWC encourages people, even though we're retired, they encourage people to report your deer. You're allowed $3, a maximum of 2 does, no more than 2 does. Could be $4. It could be it could be $5. That's correct. And could be $4, 1 doe, or it could be $5. But you're allowed a maximum of 2 does, and you have to report them when officers come up and do a check. Actually, last year I got checked on some private property, and an officer walked up to me, and we're talking, but it wasn't. I was turkey hunting. And the first question he asked me was, and I had a turkey, he said, "Did you report it?" And I said, "I sure did." And he said, "Great." That was the end of the discussion.
It takes like 30 seconds.
I got the app on my phone. I had to get my kids to help me to download the app. But anyway, hey, it worked great. You go on there, you're standing in the field in the middle of nowhere. You download that info, and it's
same with deer.
Yeah, I've heard people say it's a nightmare. That's garbage. It's not a nightmare. It's not. That's just not wanting to.
It had some kinks when it first came out.
Yeah, it did. But it's a great system, and it gives the biologists a chance to see what's going on. So anyway, with that. By the way, Arlo Kane, biologist with FWC, retired, is now in Oregon. And I got an email from him the other day, and he had wolves somewhere there close to his property. So anyway, cold up there. All right, we're out of time, but thanks for being with us.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.